Just waiting on the live stream.
Yeah.
And we're live, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this meeting of the Aberdeenshire Licensing Board. Please note the board meeting is being live streamed and will be recorded and published online for public viewing after the meeting. Can members please activate their cameras to enable you to join by video, and can all attendees mute their microphones when not speaking? Please do not come in during items unless I invite you to do so. Can I confirm that all members have been able to access the papers for today's meeting in advance?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So, usual procedure, if members wish to speak at any point, please raise your hand in the Teams meeting. Or if I don't think we have anybody who's dialed in today, so that bit doesn't count. If any members lose connection or have any technical issues during the meeting, please alert the Deputy Clerk by a separate Teams instant message if possible. Support will be available from Callum Story today, and he's 01467 537 151. He's the ICT officer for today. Can I ask the Deputy Clerk please to take the sederant?
Thank you, Chair. If you could indicate whether you're here when I call your name, please. Miss Dawn Black.
Here.
Mr. Jeff Crowson.
Yeah.
Mrs. Marion Ewanson.
Present.
Mr. Jeff Goodall.
Present.
I have apologies for Mr. Trevor Mason. Mr. Richard Maynard.
Good morning. Present.
Mrs. Nichols currently on maternity leave, and our new board member, Ms. Tracy Smith, has put her apologies in for today. Ms. Mel Sullivan.
Here.
And Mr. Ian Taylor.
Good morning. I'm here.
Chair, I can also confirm that we have Sergeant John Webster from Police Scotland, and we have Keith Simpson, Lisa Gadini and Kevin MacDonald, Licensing Standards Officers, present. We have Jenny Mearns doing the live stream, Harriet, our paralegal, is here, and Beatrice is our admin for today. We also have Kirsten George, our new solicitor, who's due to take post next week within the team, observing the board meeting today. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. We haven't mentioned our legal officer for the last two papers. Do we need to mention that he's here?
Martin Ingram is here for item 8A, and I'll be taking item 8B.
Okay. Do any members have any declaration of interest? If you do, please clarify by giving the item number, the nature of the declaration, and whether or not you will be leaving the meeting. No, I don't see any indication. No, so we can move on then to item 2, which is the equalities resolution. Do members agree that they have a legal duty under section 149 of the Equality Act 2010 to have due regard to the need to eliminate discrimination, harassment and victimisation, advance equality of opportunity between those who share a protected characteristic and persons who do not share it, and to foster good relations between those who share a protected characteristic and persons who do not share it? Do members agree?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. So item 3 on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting way back on the 27th of August. Seems a long time ago now. Do members agree that the minute is an accurate recording of the meeting?
Agree. Yes.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. So then we move on to item 4, which is our first looking at our provisional premises licence, which are non-contentious. And I'll hand over to Harriet, please.
Thank you, Convener. There's only one full premises licence application today. This is for Tarmachan Caff in Crathy Ballater. The cafe seats 35 internally and 35 externally, and there's also a roof terrace space seating 40. This is only used for events such as supper clubs. Alcohol will be sold for consumption solely on the premises, and the applicant intends to operate according to seasonal demand, taking advantage of any seasonal hours offered by the Aberdeenshire Licensing Board policy. Additional activities, in addition to the supply of alcohol, include restaurant facilities, club or other group meetings, recorded music, live performances, and outdoor drinking facilities. Other activities include the cafe offers takeaways. However, these are ordered on the premises only, and there are no telephone orders, and these will also not include alcohol. The cafe will generally operate between the hours of 10 AM and 5 PM daily. However, the core hours for on sale shall be extended to midnight for events and functions such as the occasional seasonal supper club evenings. These are ticketed set events, and they're menu dining experience between 3 and 6 courses with alcohol served. And these events will mainly be held in the cafe and outside terrace, but they may occasionally, weather permitting, be allowed to be held on the roof terrace. When they're held in the roof terrace, all alcohol will be provided in the space in advance of the function. There are no members of staff that will be carrying drinks upstairs during the event. The events will either be held in the cafe or outside terrace or on the roof terrace. The two areas will not be used at the same time, and there are no daily activities on the roof terrace during core hours. Occasionally at weekends, during core hours, live music will be played, and this will consist of small artists, acoustic music, and relaxed DJ sets. Children and young persons will also be allowed access to the premises. There is standard local conditions recommended by our LSO, which has all been agreed by the applicant, so we'd therefore be looking to grant this one in full.
Okay, thank you. Do members have any questions for Harriet, or do you wish to discuss the application? No. So in that case, looking at the recommendations, do members feel they have sufficient evidence to allow a determination to be made?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in that case, having determined there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Grant.
Okay, thank you. So that application is granted, and thank you for all the work that's gone into bringing that one to us in its current form. Item 5, applications for major variation of premises licence, again non-contentious, and it's over to Harriet again. And I think we've got quite a list here, so when we get to number 5, we have several applications for the same applicant at different locations, which we can deal with grouped together. And then the final 2 of those are all co-ops. The final 2 are slightly different, so they will be treated separate. So over to you, Harriet.
Thank you, convener. So the first is for JJ Ross in Inverurie. This is an application to amend the on sales opening time to change from 11 AM to 10 AM Monday to Sunday, and for the off sale hour, terminal hour, to change from 6 PM to 5 PM Monday to Thursday, and extended to 8 PM on a Friday to Sunday. This means that the on sales and off sale hours are aligning. Seasonal variations have been updated as part of this variation, as long with drinking facilities added to the operating plan. The layout plan has also been updated accordingly to show this outdoor drinking area. Section 5 and 5F of the operating plan have been updated to clarify additional activities that are provided at the premises. Children and young persons access and terms have also been updated to reflect the variation sought, as well with the capacity being updated to include the outdoor drinking area. In addition, to cater for customer demand, in particular from tourists, the premises wishes to increase the inaccessible display area of alcohol from 1.8 metres squared to 3.15 metres squared. The accessible display area for alcohol is to remain unchanged at 6.75 metres squared, and this results in a total off-sale capacity increasing to 11.97 metres squared. There were standard local conditions recommended by our LSO, which has all been agreed by the applicant, so we'd be looking to grant this one in full.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, or do members wish to discuss this one? No questions. In that case, can we just confirm you've had sufficient information to make a decision?
Yes.
Yes. So in terms of the recommendations, then, having determined there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Granted.
So that application is granted. So moving on to the second one, Spotty Bag Shop, Harriet.
Thank you. This is a variation to add on sales Monday to Sunday from 10 AM to 5 PM. Also, the seasonal variations are being amended to state that the terminal hour will be extended to 10 PM on Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Good Friday, and for private functions. They are adding the additional activities of restaurant facilities, receptions, including weddings, funerals, birthdays, retirements, club and other group meetings, and live performances. Section 5.5F of the operating plan have also been amended to clarify additional activities provided at the premises, and the addition of children and young persons access have been added to the operating plan. The capacity has been updated to include the on-sale area for a capacity of 200 people. The off-sale capacity remains the same at 22.29 metres squared. A variation of the layout plan has been sought to reflect the variation of the restaurant, and the premises description has been updated accordingly. There was representation received from our LSO. Standard local conditions were recommended, as well as a recommendation that the matrix and layout plan of the premises were updated. The matrix reflected bar meals were to be served, but this was an error and it is only restaurant facilities, which has been amended. And there was an additional off-sale area reflected upstairs in the restaurant, which is not an off-sale display, it's just a servery. So that has been amended and provided by the applicant as agreed by the LSO. All conditions have been agreed, so we'd be looking to grant this one in full.
Okay, thank you, Harriet. Any questions, members, or any comments? No. So in that case, in terms of recommendations, do you feel you have sufficient evidence to allow determination to be made?
Yes.
Yes.
And secondly, in that case, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Granted.
Okay, thank you. So we move on to the third application, which is the Crown Inn in Turriff. So Harriet, if you can outline the application, please.
Thank you, Convener. This is a variation to include the addition of accommodation on the operating plan. They are also updating increasing of the capacity of the premises to include such accommodation and a dining area. Section 5 of the operating plan has also been updated to state that the accommodation will be serviceable and that breakfasts are provided for guests. The premises also wishes to provide hot food such as hot pies, sausage rolls and sandwiches in the bar and lounge for major televised sporting events and funeral teas. Children and young persons access has also been updated to reflect the variation, and the layout plan has also been updated to show the serviceable accommodation, indicate the bar, lounge and accommodation areas and dining areas for children and young persons. The activity matrix has been included and the premises has also updated the description accordingly. There are standard local conditions recommended by our LSO, which has all been agreed by the applicant, so we'd be looking to grant this one in full.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No, no comments either. So do you feel, board, that you have sufficient evidence to allow determination to be made?
Yes.
Yes.
And the second recommendation, having determined there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Granted.
Okay, thank you. So that takes us to the fourth application, which is the Earl of Aberdeen Arms in New Deer. So can you outline that one for us, please, Harriet?
Thank you. This is a variation to include the addition of off-sales daily from 11 AM to 10 PM Monday to Saturday and from 11:30 to 10 PM on a Sunday. There's also the addition of seasonal variations per the Licensing Board's policy. The applicant is removing the activity of accommodation from the operate plan and adding films and outdoor drinking facilities as an activity. Section 5F of the operating plan has been updated to reflect additional activities at the premises, as well as children and young persons access being updated. The premises capacity has been updated. This reflects a reduction in standing room due to an increased seating area inside, but also the addition of the outdoor drinking area. The layout plan has been updated to show the outdoor drinking area and also the extension of the bar serving area in the lounge. There's a larger display area for soft drinks and spirits at the back of the bar. There are standard local conditions recommended by our LSO, as well as specific conditions, which have all been agreed by the applicant, so we'd be therefore looking to grant this one in full.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from members?
Nope.
Nope. Or comments? Not seeing any. So in that case, do you feel you've had sufficient evidence to allow a determination to be made?
Yes.
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 And in terms of the second recommendation, should the application be granted or refused?
Grant.
Granted.
Granted. Okay, thank you. So then we move on to the sort of group of applications from the co-op. I'll pass over to you, Harriet, to go over the first batch.
Thank you, convener. As alluded, I will take the first 8. So I will just name them and then I will discuss the variation sought. So the first one is the Cooperative Food Group Limited in Fraserburgh, the Cooperative Group Food Limited in Lawrence Kirk, Co-op Portsoy, Co-op Stricken, Co-op Fyvie, Co-op Kintor, Co-op Inverurie, and Co-op Pitmedden. These are variations to add a home delivery service to the operating plan. Home deliveries may be provided to customers through in-store ordering, e-commerce and third-party couriers, and alcohol will only be delivered in terms and in compliance with the relevant provisions of the Licensing Scotland Act 2005. The description of the premises is also to be amended to read convenience store, part of a national chain selling a broad range of products for consumption off the premises and offering a home delivery service. There were standard local conditions recommended by our LSO. The applicant has accepted all conditions for every application, so we're therefore looking to grant those 8 in full.
Okay, any questions on those? Comments from anybody? No. So can we agree that we've had sufficient evidence upon which to make a determination?
Yes.
Yes.
And in that case, should these applications be granted or refused? If there are any exceptions, just state which one.
No. Grant all.
Granted.
Grant all.
Grant all. Okay, thank you. So then we move on to the second, well, it's just 2 more co-op applications which are slightly different. I'll hand over to you, Harriet.
Thank you, convener. So the last 2 are Co-op Red Cloak Drive in Stonehaven and Co-op 12 Market Square in Stonehaven. Again, this is a variation to add a home delivery service and to update the description of the premises accordingly. There is the addition to section 5 of the operating plan to state recorded background music may be played within and out with core hours. LSO recommended standard local conditions for both applications. The applicant has agreed to both of them. We therefore looking to grant the final 2 in full as well.
Okay, thank you. So any questions? No. So do members feel they have sufficient evidence upon which to make a determination?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And in that case, should these applications be granted or refused? And that's for both of them.
Grant both.
Grant both.
Granted.
Granted.
So that both the Stonehaven ones granted as well. Okay, so thank you, Harriet. I know a lot of work goes on in the background to bring these applications to the board with so they're non-contentious. So we then move on to our first hearing of the day, which is item 6 on the agenda. It's an application for a major variation of the premises licence for the Dunes Golf Club Balmedy. And the officer taking the report is Fiona. I know she's having some issues with her power today, so if you're okay to start, Fiona, we'll...
Yeah, there's a power cut in Banff, so I'm running off battery at the moment. So I won't put my camera on if you don't mind. It'll help conserve this. I'll introduce the report before I go through the procedure, Chair, if you don't mind. I'd like to highlight an error in the report in relation to the hours sought. The applicant is seeking 9 AM until 10 PM in respect of the Halfway House and Golf Course 2 and not 1 AM. So this represents daily trading hours of 13 hours and therefore does not fall out with the terms of the Scottish Government guidance or the board's policy within the report. So the issues relating to length of trading within the report should be disregarded, and my apologies for the error. The purpose of this application is to add a second clubhouse and second golf course onto the existing premises licence. The premises licence as currently in place covers the Dune clubhouse and the entirety of the first golf course, including the use of a roving golf cart to sell alcohol to players around the course. The operating hours for the existing licence commenced at 7 AM and there were no local conditions in place at the time the premises licence was granted. There are 3 issues arising from the application before you today, which require you to determine at a full hearing of the board. Firstly, the applicant is seeking hours for the Halfway House Clubhouse and the second golf course, which are contrary to the board's current statement of licensing policy by commencing at 9 AM. Secondly, the applicant does not agree with the terms of proposed local condition 31, which relates to the terminal hour that an outside drinking area can be used for. And 3, the Deputy Clerk asks the board to consider how the wording of local conditions 34 and 35 will apply to the licence, given the outside drinking areas cover the full extent of golf courses 1 and 2, and not just the seating areas used for outside drinking within the clubhouse vicinity. Excuse me. A member should note that there is no change to the commencement hours for the Dune Golf House or the first golf course, just to reiterate that. It has also been made clear to the applicant's agent that the board can vary or add local conditions upon the grant of a major variation. Any local or specific conditions attached by the board in respect of this current application will apply to the premises licence as a whole. 2 operating plans have been lodged by the applicant's agent, which are attached within Appendix 1 to the report. These operating plans will be condensed into one operating plan, reflecting any required differences between the Dune Clubhouse and Course 1 and Halfway House Clubhouse and Course 2 through our IDOCS operating system to be issued with the revised premises licence. There is no evidence contained within the report that would justify the refusal of the application in terms of the legal test set out at Appendix 5 to the report. So the only issues for the board to determine are the 3 that I have outlined to you today. You have 2 options in relation to the procedure: to hear all 3 issues together and to decide at the end of that, or I would suggest it would be simpler for you to hear the applicant's agent in relation to issue 1 and make a decision in relation to that. Hear the applicant and the Licensing Standards Officer in relation to issue 2 and make a decision on that. And finally, to hear myself and the applicant's agent in relation to issue 3 and make a decision in relation to that. But the procedure is for the board to determine, so you have those 2 choices. With that, whether you deal with them all together or separately, the process will be to hear the applicant, hear anyone who has put a representation in. The applicant has the right to respond. Members may then ask questions of any party. Concluding remarks will be invited in reverse order, and then the board can move to a decision. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, I just want to confirm that the applicant or the agent, in this case it's Tony Dawson, can you just confirm that you're in the meeting, please?
Yes, convener, I'm here, and so are Emma Ballantyne and Samantha Rhodes from Trump, and they're on Teams as well.
Okay, thank you. And are you satisfied that you've received all the relevant information and you feel able to participate in the determination of the application?
Yes, absolutely. It was very complex and lots of paper.
Okay, thank you. And can I also confirm that Kevin MacDonald, our Licensing Standards Officer, is present?
I'm here, convener.
Okay, and have you received all the relevant information and you feel able to participate in the determination of the application?
I have and I do, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So for those joining the meeting, in line with the guidance you've received in the public participant meeting protocol for licensing board hearings, please can you mute your microphone when not speaking? Please do not speak unless I invite you to do so, and please do not interrupt other speakers. If you do, you may be removed from the meeting. Once you've been asked to make concluding remarks, you're not entitled to speak again unless to answer a question from a board member. Once the board has made its decision, you will then be asked to leave the meeting. If the board requires to adjourn to deliberate the application, the recording of the meeting will be paused and the board will retire to a separate online meeting room. Please wait in the main meeting room until the board members return and I can resume the meeting. At that point, the recording of the meeting will be restarted. So normally at this point, I'd ask the Deputy Clerk to introduce the report and confirm the procedure, but we have already done that. So I think I can just go across to Mr. Dawson first to outline the terms of the application to the board. Can I check maybe with the board members that we're okay to look at each item, the 3 issues separately as suggested?
Yes, I'm content.
Agreed.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So Mr. Dawson, if you can address the first point first, which is the hours that are contrary to the licensing board policy.
Yes, convener, your honours, as Fiona succinctly put, this is pretty complex stuff when you're trying to add another golf course and a halfway house to the existing premises license. And in those days, of course, the premises license hours were 7 a.m. In the morning to 1 a.m. the next morning, and your policy now has changed. You normally permit the sale of alcohol from 10 o'clock in the morning as the opening hour, and we're seeking to have 1 extra hour for the halfway house and in particular for the hour to be 9 a.m. And there's good reason for it. The first golf course that has been licensed since I think 2013 opens for golf at 7 o'clock. The halfway house wants to open at 9 o'clock, and there's good reason for that. People will be playing off at the second course from 7 o'clock as well. So they're both courses are open at 7. And by the time 9 o'clock comes round on the second course, the players will be at or around the halfway house. And they are looking for perhaps food and a drink to see them on their merry way round the second course, which of course, as you know, has had incredibly positive reviews and is very popular. And really, that's the reason for the demand. People can get a drink when they come round to the 9th hole and in the first course, because of course it's licensed from 7 o'clock in the morning. But by the time they get round there, it'd probably be 9:30 in the second course. The logistics are that you'll be there around 9 o'clock, and if you want a tin of beer or a gin and tonic and a sandwich, there's a demand to get that, and that's exactly what we're applying for today. And as I said, remember the existing license in the first course, it permits this anyway. So this would simply fit everything in together, and trying to fit 2 operating plans into one but it's quite a complex process, as Kevin McDonald's nodding his head and saying, and it's taken a lot of brain work, not much of my brain work, but brain work to actually to get to the stage that we are today. The halfway house is a halfway house. It's nothing more than a big, very fancy bothy. It's got an outside area at the back for people to sit, same as the Dunes clubhouse is an outside area there as well. And it's not nearly such a big operation. The Dunes has got obviously the pro shop, a restaurant, the changing facilities, but there's absolutely nothing like that at the halfway house. It's just a stopover place to allow people refresh and move forward. So I don't think I really need to address you anymore on that point, but I'm more than happy to take any questions, and if they're difficult, I'll get Samantha and Emma to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dawson. Kevin, do you want to come in on this one?
Yes, just
Do you, Kevin? Because your representation was in respect to the second issue.
Item 2.
yeah. No, I was simply going to say that there was no issues for myself. It was just brought because of the change in times. I've got no issues at all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, members, have you any questions? Ms. Black, please.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for your presentation so far, Tony. Just a question about the people that are coming to play golf, because within our policy, you know, the exemptions are for exceptional circumstances such as tourism. So is it local people that are coming to play at those kinds of times in the morning, or is it a tourist market that you're catering for?
Mr. Dawson, you're muted.
That's better. I think it's within the board's knowledge that the Trump Resort is incredibly famous worldwide. People come from all over the world to play. Not only locals, but they have members, and they have a significant amount of members. But people come to the Trump because they're modestly parading in the media that it's the greatest 36 holes in the world. Well, it's very nice, and there is massive demand from all over the world, not only locally, but Scotland, England, and all over the world. Lots of people fly in, they stay at the hotels and stuff. So it is a world famous facility.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Taylor, please.
Thank you, and thanks for your presentation, Mr. Dawson. My query is in relation to how the halfway house will be serviced in terms of supply of alcohol to that particular point. Is it going to be stored at the bottom, or is it going to come from the main clubhouse?
The alcohol is not stored, i.e. overnight or anything, in the halfway house. So it's supplied from the main June's clubhouse, and it's taken to there to be sold and supplied there. But you don't just ask for a bottle of beer and it trots its way out to the halfway house. The alcohol and the food is already there, and it just is served as the people arrive and taken away when they depart.
Okay, thank you. Can I just remind members that the issue we're dealing with just now is the 1 hour, which is out with policy. Fiona, do you want to come in? I saw your hand up.
You've just said what I was going to say, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So any more questions on that? I think the issue will be, are we satisfied that there's grounds for an exception here, a departure to go out with policy and allow a licensing commencement hour of 9 AM? Ms. Black, please.
Yeah, sorry, are we moving into discussion?
Well, just on this one item, yeah.
Yes, yeah. I would say considering the existing licence, and that this is a major variation to it, to include the new course and the new clubhouse, I would say that yes, within our policy, it is acceptable to give that extension of 1 hour so that they can open up at 9 o'clock, for the very reasons that Mr. Dawson said. You know, the golfers will be arriving at that venue around 9 o'clock anyway, so it makes absolute sense to have that so that they can provide good services to their members and the visitors there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms Sullivan, please.
I was coming in to basically say what Dawn just said, except less eloquently. So there we go.
Okay, thank you. Mr Crowson, please.
Yeah, I would agree with what Councillor Black said. Would just like to put the emphasis on the fact that it is due to the tourism factor, because we wouldn't want to set a precedent where any other places think that they could get the extra hours for any other reason other than the fact that it is a tourist spot.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other indications. I don't think there's a contrary view to that. I think Mr Dawson has outlined the case for a departure for that 1 hour to cater for the way the business operates and for tourism. So are members happy to agree that first aspect?
Agreed.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. So that's the hour, commencement hour agreed to be 9 AM. So moving on to the second point, so I'll go to Mr Dawson this time. That's the condition 31, and the applicant, I don't think, is willing to accept condition 31. So if you could just outline the case for not having condition 31 set on your licence. Mr Dawson, please.
Thank you, Convener. It's a very minor part of 31 that I just want to discuss with the board today. The new bylaws, of course, came in after the existing first golf course was licensed in the Dunes. So this is a departure from what happens in the main clubhouse itself. And that's the way the licensing legislation works, and we just have to accept it. The reason really that we seek to vary condition 31 is solely and very simply to allow patrons on some occasions to use the terraced area at the rear of the Dunes Golf Club, just the Dunes, nothing else, after 10 PM for the purpose of finishing their drink outside, obviously when the weather conditions permit and the har does not come in past the clubhouse. So that is it. So there will be no alcohol served outside after 10 PM. But if somebody wants to go out and have a smoke and take their drink outside to finish it, that is all that we're really wanting to bring to your attention, that this does happen on occasions when in summer sunny weather people will want to go outside, finish their drink, and then they depart. So there's no drink being served after 10 o'clock to people outside in the terrace at the Dunes, but they want this Emma and well, I think Emma basically and Samantha have both said that this does happen in the Dunes and has happened in the Dunes, and there has been no problem since they started it in 2013. They want to make sure that this is ratified and is all above board and accepted by the licensing board. That's it. Nothing too complex. Well, very complex actually, but nothing too significant.
Okay, thank you. So can I go across then to Kevin MacDonald, Licensing Standards Officer, to speak to your representation, please?
Yes, firstly, my apologies. I also have to confirm and support Mr Dawson in the fact that currently the clubhouse does not have this condition. There are no conditions currently applied, local conditions applied to the clubhouse. It may have perhaps been me overstepping my mark in adding condition 31. I did add it to my representation, but again, the premises is licensed until 1 AM.
Okay. Mr Dawson, do you want to comment, having heard from the Licensing Standards Officer?
No, that's very charitable of Kevin, but the bylaws, as your honours know, come in to the whole premises, because there is an existing premises licence that we're just putting the second course in the halfway house into it and incorporating it, and the bylaws then will apply to the conjoined license, and that's why I'm just raising this very minor point to you today.
Okay, just to clarify, when you use the term bylaws, it would mean local conditions. Okay, so across to members, have you any questions for either party? Mr. Taylor, please.
Thank you very much. Can I just clarify, Mr. Dawson specifically spoken about the patrons carrying their drink from the clubhouse around the environment of the clubhouse. There was nothing in relation to the supply further afield over the course. So it was just around about the clubhouse.
Simply to the back terrace area at the dunes, and of course this happens at the moment and has happened without any problem, and the people will have to carry out their drink. Might be lemonade, it might be alcohol, but that's why they would want to take it out on the occasions that it makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Black, please.
Yeah, thanks very much. I mean, one of the reasons we have this condition now is to save noise outside, which might disturb neighbouring properties, etc. Could you just clarify and where the nearest properties are, and if it's, you know, if the clubhouse is very much away from other properties, so there wouldn't be any noise spill that would disturb other residents? Thank you.
Yes, I'm not sure if you know the clubhouse, but
No.
there's no adjacent properties. Adjacent properties is what the wording is. We don't have at Trump adjacent properties close by, and this will simply be for people to finish their drink and then move back inside. But there are no adjacent properties. I think Emma and Sam could tell you the distances. Distance is not something I'm particularly familiar with, but it's hundreds of yards.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to hear from the two representatives, Ms. Black, to get that detail?
Yeah, just so we can get accurate detail, please.
So have we got?
It'll give them something to do, convener. So okay. I'm very happy that they do that.
So does Ms. Bannatyne or Ms. Rhodes want to come in and clarify that, if you're able?
Yeah, good morning and thank you for hearing us today. I would say, given approximation, the closest property is around half a mile away.
Yeah. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Good. That's good.
Okay,
I do have another question, actually.
Oh, okay,
Chair, if that's okay. Yeah. Thinking about those people that are going outside to finish up drinks, absolutely fair enough. But how long are they tending to stay outside? Because I know that the main clubhouse has a license until 1 o'clock for inside drinking. So how long are people tending to stay around the area? And would you be content to have a condition which stretched it to 11 o'clock, for example, rather than just leaving it open-ended?
Sorry,
they'd be brave people sitting outside till 1 o'clock, I think, but 11 o'clock, I don't know what my clients think of that. I can't think there'd be many people wanting to finish their drinking, but because smoking is different, of course. Smoking is permitted, and that's why it's difficult to fit these local conditions into existing licenses. And this isn't a pub, it's not a hotel, it's not a restaurant, it's something completely different and very rare. That's the problem. But up to ladies, what would you say? The smoking, of course, doesn't come into this. It's just the drinks.
Do you want to comment? Do you want to comment on that, either of you, Miss Rhodes or Miss Ballantyne?
Hi. I can't really give you a length of time of how long people sit there. we serve food, it's a restaurant in the clubhouse, you know, so people may take a coffee outside or after their meal while they have a cigar. I mean, I've been here 3 years and I could probably count on one hand how many times people have stayed there till after 11 o'clock. Like it's just, I suppose, being able to offer that facility. We do have accommodation on site, you know, so we do have residents, but you know, generally they're down at the house. They're not at the clubhouse till that time.
Okay, thank you. So I think the difficulty we're having here is normally an outdoor area is clearly defined. We're looking at a golf course, you know, we're talking at a large area, and I think that's the sort of difficulty we've got. So I wonder if we look at the outside area as being that particular area right outside the clubhouse.
Only the convener. That's only the only area this would apply to at the dunes. Is the large terrace at the back.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. Can I just ask Deputy Clerk for some advice on that issue? Can we amend the condition so it's just the outside area at the clubhouse?
Yeah, you can amend it to either remove it entirely, so it won't apply across anything, or you could restrict the condition to the outside seating area within the vicinity of the Dunes Golf Club and allow more flexible hours, but keep the 10 p.m. for the rest of for the halfway house and the 2 golf courses, because they're still outside drinking areas. So you could vary the term so that it just applies, vary the terms of the condition so that it's a more lenient one and can apply to the area immediately outside the Dunes Golf Club only. Or you can, based on what you've heard, you also have the ability to say circumstances here are different and there's sufficient information to remove the condition in its entirety for the whole premises. Yeah. It's up to the board, but you do have options.
Yeah, okay. I think you also need to weigh up the likelihood that people will want to be outside. I mean, this is the northeast of Scotland. It's a bit limited. Mr. Crowson, please.
Thanks, Chair. I think this might be possibly one for an opinion from Kevin. I'm comparing this to the equivalent to, say, a pub that's got a garden licence and maybe it stops at 10 o'clock. Just for openness, I've had that situation myself in the past. People were still able to go out and smoke. It's just they had to leave their drink inside, go out and have a smoke and come back. If we was to make an exception for something like this, would that possibly leave us open for other premises challenging it?
If I can give my opinion, I think the fact that the golf club already has a license that allows them to sit outside until 1 a.m. at the moment, there have been no issues here up until now, and I know it's because of the change of policy that this has been raised. Again, I can't make that decision on behalf of the board, but I don't have an issue with how they have been running up until now under the current licence. I think Fiona's possibly coming in to stop me here.
Coming in.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
No,
you want to come in, Fiona?
Thank you. It's not to stop you, Kevin. It's just to say that this application has to be considered on its own merits, and what happens in other applications is separate. So you can't, you're comparing apples and pears effectively, Mr. Crowson. So you've got to decide this based on the information that's been put to you today and the circumstances in relation to this particular application. And what I would advise legally is that it's sufficiently different to allow you some leeway. I mean, the only reason we're having this hearing and these issues is because as an officer, I don't have delegated powers to change your conditions. They are your conditions. So it's for you as a board to determine whether you have sufficient information today to justify departing from your policy, which those conditions form part of, to allow either them to be removed or to be amended. So I don't think you can legitimately compare this with any other beer garden. You have to look at the outside drinking areas as they are before you, listen to what Mr. Dawson and Ms. Rhodes and Ms. Ballantyne have said, and determine what is appropriate to this premises licence application.
Okay,
That's right.
thank you.
That's it. Just like to be clear.
And convener, we're more than
Oh,
happy.
sorry, Mr. Dawson. I'll
Sorry.
just wait a minute. I'll bring you in. Were you finished, Mr. Crowson?
Yeah, it's fine, thanks.
Okay, Miss Sullivan has her hand up. You want to come in?
Just to say that I think given the rurality of this venue, that amending local conditions seems like the best way forward. I saw nods from Samantha and Emma as well when this was suggested, that we allowed the outside drinking to continue until, what is it, the 1 o'clock in the vicinity of the clubhouse. Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Dawson, you wanted to come in. I'll just bring you in ahead of Miss Black.
Just to say, convener, and I hope my clients agree, it's only the terrace that we're really looking for to have this departure. And as you heard, it's not often that we get, even at Trump, very, very good weather, even in the summer.
You can't make the sun shine. Yeah.
Well, no, not them even, but I would basically say, if it was restricted to that terraced area at the back, that would be absolutely acceptable to the applicants.
Okay, thank you. So, Miss Black, do you want to come in, and then we'll go to determination?
Yeah, kind of discussion here, following on from what Miss Sullivan said. Yeah, I would be inclined that, considering the licence has been running well, with no problems with them being able to drink outside or take their drinks out with them when they go out to smoke or have a cigar, etc. For the years that have been the licence has been running, to allow them to continue to do that in that area, but amend the condition for that variation, but also to have, as Miss Stewart suggested, keep the 10 o'clock for the rest of the golf course, because obviously it's all the licensed area. If we can create a specific condition so that it's 1 p.m. on the terrace and 10 p.m. no 1 a.m. sorry
1 a.m.
and 1 a.m. on the terrace, and 10 p.m. for the rest of the premises. If we can do that, then I would be content with that.
Okay, thank you. We'll hold that one for now. Mr. Goodall?
Yeah, are we in discussion? I'm sorry, but I think I missed us moving into discussion, so we are. If would it be easier and cleaner just to remove that specification 31, is it? And just, if that's removed, would all of our other issues go away, because we'd just be taking it into what's happening in the rest of the golf course?
Okay, thank you. Do you want to come in on that? Maybe Fiona? The technicalities of doing that.
As I said earlier, it is an option for the board to remove that condition. It's in entirety. I mean, you've heard from both Mr. Dawson and Kevin today to the effect that it's operated without incident for the first clubhouse and the first golf course under the current licence. So there's no evidence before you of alcohol-related harm or actions contrary to the licensing objectives. But as an officer, I have no power to remove or amend that condition. So it is an option for the board to either amend, leave it as it is, or remove the condition in its entirety. So that is a valid option that Mr. Goodall has put forward.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Black?
Yeah, thanks. In response to that, I totally understand trying to make it simple, but I'd be reluctant, considering that within this is to do with our policy, and this is the policy that we have now, to just put carte blanche on drinking can be anywhere until 1 a.m. Sorry, getting mixed up with my AMs and PMs again, until 1 a.m. because that is very contrary to our policy.
Okay, thank you. So before we move to the determination, Kevin, Mr. MacDonald, have you anything you want to say in closing?
No, nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. Dawson?
I've said enough, convener, but it's a very, very small change. And on the basis that the HAR does come in quite frequently, it is only used on the odd occasion when somebody wants to take their final drink from inside to outside. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Goodall, do you want to come in at this point?
Yeah, just for clarification, I imagine that what Fiona said earlier about us having the option of removing it in its entirety, that means it is still within policy. So I just want to examine and get advice on what Mrs. Black said regarding the policy, because we don't want to make a mistake here. I'm still of the mind that we should remove it in its entirety to make it simpler, but I want to make sure that doing so would still be within policy. Thank you.
Fiona?
Yeah, both sides can be in policy or against policy. The whole point of the policy and the whole point of the conditions is to comply with and promote the 5 licensing objectives. And that is why the conditions were put into place. So if you're satisfied as a board that the 5 licensing objectives can be fully complied with and promoted by removing the condition in its entirety based on the evidence you have before you today, then that is a justification that you can put forward to remove the condition. But equally, Ms. Black has indicated that the condition was put there for specific licensing objectives, so removing it in its entirety may not be the way to go. So it's how much weight you're putting on the evidence in relation to the motion or amendment that you wish to put forward. And that's for you as a board to determine. So you can remove it if you're satisfied that there won't be any undermining of the licensing objectives or non-compliance, and where is the harm that's been presented to you today, or you can restrict it because it was restricted for a good reason and those conditions were put into place and you're satisfied that those reasons remain. So it's for you as a board. I can't tell you which is the right way. It's the weight that you put on it depending on what it is that you want to propose as a motion or amendment. And I appreciate that's a good lawyer's answer, Mr. Goodall, but that you know, I can't give you the motion or the amendment to put forward, and you as the board have to make that do the weighing up exercise and make that determination.
Okay, thank you for that, Fiona. So that covers one of my questions then was, do members require legal advice from the clerk? And we've just had legal advice. Does anybody else require legal advice at this point? No. So in that case, Fiona, can you outline the terms of the legal test for the application, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The legal test is set out in Appendix 5 to your report, and I'll go through the grounds of refusal and I'll advise you whether my view is they apply or they don't apply. The first ground of refusal is the application must be refused under certain sections of the Act. I can advise you that does not apply. The second ground of refusal is that the Licensing Board considers, and it would be the granting of this issue, would otherwise be inconsistent with one or more of the licensing objectives. That would be the ground of refusal, that you'd be considering this issue under, but only in relation to the local condition, because there's no evidence before the board to refuse the application as a whole. Thirdly, the having regard to the nature of the activities proposed to be carried on in the premises, the location, character and condition, and the persons likely to frequent the premises, the board considers that the premises are unsuitable for use for the sale of alcohol in accordance with the proposed variation. So that's, in this case, in accordance with the applicant's request to have the condition 31 varied or removed. So that could apply. And finally, D, the board considers that the application were to be granted the repeal provision, and I would advise that does not apply. If you find any apply in relation to the request for relaxation of 31, then you must refuse it. Otherwise, you can grant it as requested by the applicant, or vary the terms of that condition to meet the terms of the licensing objectives, or to ensure that the sale of alcohol in the outside area is appropriate. But you can't refuse the application outright. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, thank you, Fiona. Do members wish to retire to deliberate? No. Okay, we can continue then. So
excuse me.
We've had some debate, but the members confirm they've received sufficient evidence upon which to make a decision.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So have we got a motion? Ms. Black, please.
Yeah, as stated before, I would wish to relax condition 31, but not to get rid of it entirely. I would say, as I stated before, that we allow outdoor drinking to coincide with the licensed hours to 1 p.m. because the
1 a.m.
1 a.m. Oh God, I don't know what's going on. Until 1 a.m. Because for the reason that it is so remote from any other place. So part of the reasoning for having those restrictions on hours is noise pollution. But I would want that restricted just to the terrace outside the facility, and that the rest of the golf course be recognised as a licensing area needs to still be restricted to 10 p.m. Thank you. Hope that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Fiona.
So that would be the amended, that would be to amend. Is there a seconder for that motion? Could somebody wave?
Yeah.
There's lots of hands up.
I would second it.
Jeff, I think Jeff popped up first.
I would second that, as it's what the applicant was asking for.
Okay.
Just restricts it from being all over the entire area.
Okay, so that's seconded by Mr. Crowson. Is there an amendment? No amendment. So in that case, can I just confirm the wording of that motion? Did you get a note of that, Fiona?
Yeah, can I just confirm that that decision is unanimous, and I'll take silence as being it is? Okay, so the wording that I have put down is to relax the terms of condition 31 to allow outdoor drinking until 1 a.m. But on the terrace outside the Dune Clubhouse only, on the basis that it's so remote it won't attract noise nuisance, but the rest of the area to remain with the 10 p.m. hour as the current condition.
Yes.
Okay, agreed.
Okay.
Right, so that's the decision on that point. So we still have the third matter to deal with, which is the wording of local conditions 34 and 35 and how they apply to the applicant. So we need to go back and look at those items. So for that, I'll come back to Mr. Dawson. Please, can you outline your representation on those points, please?
Yes, of course, absolutely. And actually, I would basically say that what would be quite acceptable would be what Fiona has is noted as an alternative in 317 and 318 about what we're looking to do. So 34 and 35 are they relate to things like pubs and restaurants, and not really areas like this where there aren't adjacent properties, and it's very difficult to fit, as I said already, these local conditions into something that is pretty much unique. But that's what we have to do, so that's what we're going to try to do. So again, I think Fiona has given you some alternatives in condition 317, and if I can read out the one that I have indicated that would be absolutely acceptable to Trump. Board members, she says, board members are therefore asked if they wish to remove this condition entirely, that's 3435, or amend the wording to apply to the seated outside drinking areas within the immediate vicinity of the June clubhouse and halfway house, only so that children and young persons can continue to play golf on the courses and continue to play golf on the courses. She goes on to say it's also recommended the applicant be asked to update their licensing objectives, risk assessment to outline how they will ensure that they can protect children and young persons from harm by preventing access to any alcohol provided on the course via the roving buggy selling alcohol, and to ensure that any competition specifically aimed at children and young persons be alcohol-free in the golf courses, given the board's policy recognises the particular impact of alcohol misuse on children and young persons and wishes to assist in changing detrimental attitudes and behaviours. The application can be granted in principle subject to receipt of a revised risk assessment. And I would just say there, phew. So absolutely, that's what we're looking for. We're wanting it we're wanting again it to be restricted, and I'm saying that what we are looking for complies entirely with this alternative that has been put out in your board papers 317. Happy to answer any questions, but again, 34 and 35 don't sit easily into a golf course and a licensed golf course. That's just the way of the world. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to try to tie it in to make the best of what is desired. And again, we're looking for much of a more of a restriction than we might be otherwise.
Okay, thank you. I'll now go over to Fiona if you want to speak to your representation on this.
Thank you. I won't take up too much more of your time. As Mr. Dawson has said, that this premises is unique because the outside drinking areas effectively cover the entire golf courses. And as he's quite rightly said, the conditions envisaged by the board were for a specific beer garden, outside drinking area, pavement cafe. And what we don't want to do is attach conditions that the licence holder simply cannot comply with. So the first condition 34 requires the outside drinking area to be delineated by a physical barrier with signage indicating that alcohol is not to be removed from the area. It would be completely unreasonable and unenforceable to insist on this condition for the entire golf courses. So you do have an option to remove it entirely given the circumstances of the application, or to restrict the requirement to have a physical barrier and signage to the terraced areas immediately out with the June clubhouse and the halfway house. So that's for condition 34. And for condition 35, the way it's currently worded, and knowing that there will be a strong junior membership at the golf courses, the current condition says that children and young persons may be present in an outside drinking area only for the purpose of the consumption of food. And the way it's currently worded, it would not permit them to play golf, which is not what the board would have intended to do. I'm happy to hear that Mr. Dawson is in favour of the options that I've laid out at section 3.17 of the report. And again, you can remove that in its entirety, restrict it to the clubhouses. And as I've indicated, the board's policy does have some concern about normalisation of alcohol for children and young persons. So to update the risk assessment so that they can continue to play golf and have their competitions, but their access to alcohol is restricted in line with the protection of children and young persons from harm licensing objective, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So members, have you any questions to ask Ms. Sullivan?
Yep, I have two questions. The first is, are there any particular paths to access the golf course from public ground? Can you go to the beach? Is it completely open, or are there actual paths? And if there are like paths, could a sign saying alcohol not to be taken beyond this point be put up at that path? My other question would be possibly to the licensing officer, if there's no possibility of delineating the area, could a wee sign be put up where alcohol is sold to say alcohol must be consumed on the premises and not taken off? Would that then suffice? Thank you.
Okay. I saw Miss Rhodes nodding there. Can I go to you on the issue of the paths?
Yeah, the site is open to the public with public access to the beach. So we don't have any perimeter fencing. So you could be on Balmeady Beach and have access onto the golf course. There's no specific paths. You could just walk over the dunes.
Okay, Mr. Dawson, do you want to comment on that, or was...
You know, just listening to all of these sensible comments, I just wonder, Fiona, if there will be occasions when children are coming in to meet maybe their parents, and they might not want food. They might just want a Coke or a lemonade. And I don't know what my clients would think about this, but I don't think it would be every occasion that a child would go out to the outside terrace with their parents or on their own and want to have a hamburger or a hot dog or something. And I just wonder if that is a restriction that's a little bit too far by dint of the way of the operation. That's all I'm saying. We wouldn't want to require to serve a child food if they don't want it. They might just want a drink.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Black, please, have you got a question?
More a comment based. I was already kind of thinking along the same lines as Mr. Dawson has just outlined there, in that, you know, this is a members club and a sporting venue, and, you know, food is not always the be all and end all of what a young person or a child is going to be doing when they go inside in that facility after they've played golf. So, you know, the restriction that then puts on where the young people are actually allowed to go anywhere within the buildings is worrying to me, and what restriction that would then put on the whole model of a golf club. So I'm kind of thinking along the lines of, or do you want me to go into discussion now, or just stick it to the comment in the...
Just wait with discussion for a minute, and I'll come back to you. Fiona, please.
Just to clarify that there is no restriction other than that set out in the operating plans for where children and young persons have access within the buildings. This condition 35 only relates to the outside drinking area, and it only causes us a problem because it's restricting people to the consumption of food, which would usually be for a beer garden, an outside cafe or a street cafe. What we don't want to do is cause the restrictions to be such that those young people can't go out onto the golf courses to play golf, which is the primary purpose of the club, and it doesn't tie in with the sale of alcohol here. So this condition was designed for a specifically a totally different remit, shall we say, and that's why I'm asking the board to consider whether it should be removed in its entirety, or restricted to the terraces out with the two clubhouses, for consumption of food, to allow them to play golf. Or you could restrict it to food or a drink, or you can amend it, because it is unique circumstances. But it's only the outside drinking areas that pose the problem because of the local condition and the way it's worded. Inside, the operating plan access provisions will allow the children and young persons pretty much access to most parts of the premises. So that we're not restricting them within the buildings. It's purely because the entirety of the golf courses are covered as outside drinking areas that this poses a potential restriction for junior members. And it's not one that the board would have intended to put into place when putting this local condition into their policy.
Okay, thank you. Ms Sullivan, please.
I'd be quite happy with removing condition 35 about the children. I didn't get an answer to my second question from earlier about the wee signs at the points of selling alcohol. But another question did occur to me. If there's public access from the beach to the golf course, what's to stop somebody coming from the public area into the golf course and then purchasing alcohol from either the halfway bothy or the travelling cart, and then removing that alcohol back onto the beach? Thank you.
Okay, I think there might be an operating policy there, Fiona.
Yeah, there is an operating policy. Also, the person on the buggy will have had training. There'll be refusal registers, challenge 25, exactly the same, and they would be free to challenge that person and refuse the sale of alcohol if they believe that they're not on the course to play golf. And that refusals register can be inspected at any time by both the LSO and the police if they ask to see it. So there are measures already in place under the mandatory conditions attached to a premises licence that should adequately cover that, as well as staff training from the personal licence holder's perspective for all staff at the premises, which would cover greenkeepers, etc., relating to the sale of alcohol and consumption of alcohol around the course. So that's something that can be complied with by the applicant and checked on by our LSO in the main, but also by Police Scotland if they feel that is being taken advantage of.
Okay, does that answer your question?
It answers that question, but what about the
The
option
signage,
of having a sign? Would
the
that
signage, it would be impossible for us to enforce, is my view. It would be an ultra vires condition to put on, given the extent of the golf course. We would never be able to enforce
it was
signs.
wee signs at the point of sale of alcohol to say alcohol must be consumed within the grounds of the golf club. Rather than putting signs on the outside, you put it where the alcohol's sold. Would that not be an acceptable amendment? Condition?
I'm not sure you would be able to put a sign on the golf buggy.
Does anybody know the answer to that? I don't know how practical that is.
No.
I mean, basically, Your Honours, there isn't going to be any selling to people that aren't playing around the golf, and I don't think it's ever envisaged that people that coming into the halfway house, my clients just wouldn't be doing that. It's for people that are playing golf in the golf courses. It's not anything like the June's restaurant, and it's just a halfway house for light food and snacks. I have never actually thought of it in that way. What about my clients? Have you thought of that in that way? It just wouldn't happen, would it? No.
Do you want to come in there, Miss Rhodes or Miss Ballantyne?
Yeah, the halfway house is really just for golfers, but I think the point was for the entire course. Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
In terms of the signage,
Yeah,
for us to say not to take alcohol off site.
Yeah, I think Miss Sullivan was saying it for the whole course, not just the halfway house.
Well, for the whole course was, I think she suggested, because there was no paths, could a sign be put up at the point of sale?
I'm actually a bit concerned that it would be an unlawful condition, because in terms of provision of off sales, you can purchase alcohol to take off the premises as an off sale. So to my mind, that would be a restriction on something that the Act legitimately allows for trade, and that would be challengeable in court. So in my view, therefore, is that such a condition would not be lawful.
Okay, thank you. That clears that up. Ms. Black, please.
It's fine. My question's kind of been answered already.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Crowson.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. It's not so much a question, but just a sort of point. Having a condition like this on, if we want to look at the whole point that somebody could just walk off of the beach and walk across the grounds if they wanted to, with this condition alone, somebody could just walk, some random child could walk on to the premises and they would be in breach of their conditions. So the condition kind of needs to be removed for the applicant's sort of protection. I'm saying this as a sort of slightly silly example, but I don't think it's that silly. It's the nature of the course and the openness of it. I also believe that the applicants in that would be very careful of their reputation and anything going wrong in a place like that. And would be sort of adhering to all the correct conditions and procedures it is there, but to have something like that in place that just, it's not making any sense when there's going to be young people at tournaments and stuff. And like I say, somebody could just randomly walk from the beach onto it, and that means that the applicants would be in breach of a condition. So,
okay, thank you.
Do something about it.
And I think we need to look at what the main function of the whole site is. It's not a pub and restaurant, it's a golf course with facilities. So I think that's quite important. So in that case, I don't see any more questions. So Fiona, do you want to say anything in closing?
No, Chair, I think I've covered it all.
Okay, and Mr. Dawson, do you want to say anything in closing?
Well, I think, to be honest, the councillors have really gone to the nub of this thing. It's very difficult for 35 to be inserted into a golf course halfway house. And my view, having listened to you all, is that the removal of that condition, in our view, listening to what happened today, would be more sensible and appropriate.
Okay, thank you. Members, do you require any legal advice from the clerk?
No.
No. Again, Fiona, can you outline the terms of the legal test, please?
Chair, the terms of the legal test would be exactly the same as for issue 2. You'd be considering this in relation to the licensing objectives and the suitability of the premises for the sale of alcohol.
Okay. Right. Are you
My
okay there?
apologies. I took a coughing fit. The other grounds of refusal don't apply, and again, you're only looking at the terms of condition 34 and 35 and not a refusal of the application as a whole.
Okay, thank you. Do board members require to retire to deliberate? No, I would suggest no indeed. So in that case, I'll open for debate. I think we've gone there already, but Ms. Black.
Yeah, I mean, having considered everything that's been discussed and looking at it from a purely practical point of view, I don't think that these conditions do actually apply to this premises because of the nature of it and its uniqueness. So I would suggest that they are removed.
Okay, thank you. So since we're moving into determination, can I just ask members that you're satisfied you've received sufficient evidence upon which to make a decision?
Yes.
Yes. Fiona, you wanted to come in there?
Yeah, it was just to highlight that section 34 has 3 sections, and section A relates to no amplified music or noise emitted from the use of microphones or speakers, etc. It's only B and C that I asked to be amended or removed, and whether you wish to keep that on, but only within the vicinity of the outside terraced areas, the seated areas, or whether you feel that given the distance that other properties are from the premises, that part of the condition 34 can also be removed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for clarity's sake.
Okay. Is that a motion then from you, Ms. Black?
Yeah, it is. And going on to what Fiona's just outlined, I think because of the distance that the premises is, I think that we could just remove the condition altogether. So I'm open to keeping part A if other people feel we should.
Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder for that motion? Ms. Sullivan? Yeah. Just, is there any amendment? First of all, I just wonder if we should still keep some sort of amended risk assessment as a requirement as regards
Yes, absolutely.
the licensing
Sorry.
condition.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I should have said that as well. Yeah,
protecting children.
because that was that was the proposal from Miss Stewart. So I'm very sorry for not including that in my motion. But yeah, absolutely, we would need that extra risk assessment because of the roving buggy around the golf course for sure.
Okay, thank you. And are you happy with that, Ms. Sullivan? You still happy to second? Yes. Okay. Is it an amendment? No. So in that case, can you just outline the decision or outline the motion, please, Fiona?
I'll take silence there as the decision being unanimous. So just to review for Mr. Dawson and his clients, the hours sought under issue 1 have been granted as from 9 AM. Condition 31, if you hang on till I get between my screens, has been amended to allow outdoor drinking until 1 AM but restricted to the terrace outside the Dune Golf Club, and the remainder of the premises still to be restricted to 10 PM in relation to condition 31. Conditions 34 and 35 have been removed in their entirety, but the board has asked for a revised licensing objectives risk assessment to be lodged in relation to the protection of children and young persons from harm. So that's the decision today. You'll receive written notification within the next 7 days. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Just convener, one thing. Sorry to be not pedantic, because I'm certainly not pedantic. In Fiona's narrative here in 317, it says the application can be granted in principle subject to receipt of a revised risk assessment. We're more than happy to give you a revised risk assessment, but it would make a lot more sense if this was just granted today and we gave you an undertaking that it would be done. My clients tell me it can be done in about a week. Is that right?
We have We have 28 days to issue the license
Okay,
anyway,
then
so it
it'll
shouldn't
be
make
with you
any
before.
difference.
It'll
Yeah.
be with you
Okay.
before.
Right, thank you. So I can confirm that this hearing has now concluded. So thank you all for your interest in this business, and thank you for attending today. It's been a complicated one, but I think it's, what can we say? It's a unique sort of setting, and it's always good to have a discussion around how our licensing conditions actually work in practice. So I'll ask you now to leave the meeting. And I think, members, we will take a short 15-minute break before we move on to item 7. So it's neatly 11:45, so we'll break until 12 o'clock. Okay, thank you. We'll see you back at
Thank
12.
you.
We'll just